Trendz Travel is back on your screens, and today, in celebration of Africa Month, we travel to Mozambique through music and food. And a Nigerian artist hosts a colorful showcase of his art. Kenyan girls are determined to dominate on the skates. And lastly, African fabrics are what makes us bright and beautiful. All that and much, much more coming right up.
But Trendy, you know me, I love a good travel experience. But one thing that has not been brought to your attention is that you don't always physically have to travel somewhere. Sometimes you travel through food and music. And today, on this beautiful, beautiful winter afternoon, I'm doing just that with singing sensation Wanda Baloyi. We're traveling where? To Mozambique, of course. Hurrying. Here we go, madam. Wow. Any reason who can cook, who looks good, who speaks Portuguese?
My mom had a kitchen. She used to cook for students in Bloemfontein. Her influence is definitely the Mozambican flavor, but it wasn't necessarily Mozambican food per se, right? I think there's a way in which she would do her thing that is a little bit different to somebody else. So I think the taste in how she did her stews and stuff like that. So she also was one person that absolutely loved being in the kitchen, cooking, baking, doing all that stuff. So that's something I grew up learning.
Yeah.
I grew up in that space. So for me, doing this didn't feel like a difficult thing for me to do. It felt automatic. It's like my dad. I grew up with my dad singing. My dad's a musician. So I guess that's where the music also comes from. So just being around him, performing, listening to music, etc., etc. So it became second nature to me.
So now, you were saying that there's Mozambican flavor. So Mozambican flavor doesn't necessarily mean Mozambican food. So you can take Mozambican flavor, infuse it in South African food, right?
Absolutely. It's the manner in which you do it. For instance, this rice. The rice. But it's the way I'm doing it. It's the way I'm doing it that makes the rice different, the taste, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I say it's an infused Mozambican flavor. Obviously, there's Mozambican dishes that are more dominant per se. Like for instance, this would be a typical Mozambican plate that you would eat in a restaurant or at home or anything like that. So salad is something really basic. Like we eat everything with salad. Even my friends would joke about it and say, "Oh, Wanda, salad." Like I'm just like a salad person.
So I just want us to touch now on being a Mozambican South African. What does that mean for you? What does that mean?
I think I'm blessed actually. I think it's such a privilege to be a part of a diverse culture. I'm immensely influenced by South African culture because most of my life is South African. Went to school in South Africa, born and raised in South Africa, have everything that has my name on is South African. But by blood, I'm definitely Mozambican.
Yeah.
My parents are Mozambican, my family is Mozambican, my food influence are Mozambican, so I think I'm such a blessed human being because I have such diversity at my disposal. So being part of these two countries for me gives me an opportunity to also educate, educate people about the relationship that both countries have and have had for many years. And also I put myself in this whole same sum because at the end of the day, we're all Africans. At the end of the day, we're fighting for the same cause. At the end of the day, we all want to eat, drink, enjoy as family.
And in Mozambique, what's your favorite place or favorite town when you were there? Where do you enjoy being the most?
Maputo, I stay in Maputo in Mozambique. That's my base. But I've experienced so many beautiful spaces and places One of my favorite till today is at the White Pearl Resort. Ooh, it's an exclusive resort owned by a very close friend of mine. And I went there as a birthday experience with a close friend, and Kelly, my friend as well, was there. So I think that was our first experience there, and I fell in love with the place.
Where are you musically?
Ooh. Good question. I have no idea where I am musically. I'm being very honest. I think since lockdown, so much happened. I got involved in so many things, so many projects, traveling back and forth. So I think I opened up my doors into business and entrepreneurship and trying different channels. And I said to myself, you know what, music will always be a part of my life. It will be something that I will never leave. But I feel I need to grow in other aspects, you know, and I feel I need to try different ventures and definitely come back to music. As I look up into the sky, I see pictures of your face. Fly up above, high up above, high up above.
In celebration of Africa Month, we want to explore the continent's art today through a new lens. So in helping us do that, a Pan-African multidisciplinary artist, Tunde Owelabi, invited us to this solo exhibition where we'll be seeing a correlation or a relation between art and Africa. You know what they say about art? It reveals who you are. So let's go find out what I'm talking about. The exhibition is taking place here at Cromwell Ngobeni Studios, and next to me, you will not believe it, is the man himself, Cromwell Ngobeni. Cromwell, welcome to Trendz Live.
Oh, thank you so much. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Bridging the gap with contemporary artists, this is obviously the first move. How important is that to grow the African art space? For us to bridge that gap, like you are a Nigerian artist, I'm a South African artist, how do we gather together and make the arts community work?
I mean, by doing maybe a lot of galleries, a lot of exhibition, especially collaborating with people who are not only South Africans, you know, because of one day I would like to show in Nigeria. So I feel like having a connection or building the connection out of South Africa is very important, and this is what I'm trying to do, you know. So communicating with other people from other countries.
So this is where people will find your work. What type of art are you into? Is it drawing? Is it painting? What type of art do you do?
I do a lot of charcoal, but I'm flexible. I'm willing to learn, so I'm known as a charcoal artist, but I'm trying to move away from that and do painting, learn from him as he's doing painting, you know? So those kind of things, so yeah.
And now with me is Mimi, the curator of the whole show. Mimi, when did you get into art? Your passion for art, when did it start?
Hi, my passion for art started about 20 years ago. I used to go and see artworks in museums. I was a child who was always curious about art, about theater. So one day when I started growing up and I made friends with artists and I could go to their studios and I could go to the F&B art fair and all other art exhibitions, and I started collecting art, my love just grew from there. And then I decided, oh my God, this is something I can do, this is something I can study, because I love it. It doesn't feel like work, it fulfills me so much.
Out of all this artwork we're seeing today, what's your favorite? What's the one that you relate to, that truly identifies you as an African? Which one? Show us. There must be one.
That's a very difficult question because all the artworks are amazing, but I'm going to choose the lady in blue behind me because there's just something very mysterious about her. You can't see her full face, but she's got this beautiful blue gown. It's regal, it's African, it's rich, and she's got a tattoo. You know, she just owns herself. It just reminds me of so many African women who have been through so much, but when they step out, you see them, you can never know their pain. They don't look like what they've been through.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the man of the hour, this is the man of the day, this is the man of the night. The one and only Mr. Tue Owulabi, who is doing his first exhibition here in South Africa. So as an African, how do you use your art or your work to describe yourself or to identify yourself? Because sometimes the work that we put into everything that we do portrays who we are, and yours is through art. How does your art show that you are a true African?
Because all my influences come from Africa, you know. I'm inspired by the culture of African countries, you know, different cultures in Africa. I'm inspired by the tradition, the people, the food, you know, the continent as a general, you know, because there's so much untapped resources in Africa.
Your favorite top two. Just show us and explain what it says to you, what went behind it when you were doing those drawings. What were you thinking? What did you want? What were you seeing? And what did you want as people who view your art to see when you were putting those drawings together? Which one?
I would say this piece behind us here. It's one of my favorite pieces because growing up, you know, when you go to visit people, they give you like a photo album as some sort of entertainment, you know. And you're looking through the photo album, you're seeing photos of the grandparents or the parents, and you know, sometimes they stand by their cars, you know, sometimes they stand by flowers and just hold the you know, there was a certain kind of aura that they had in the way they take photos, their portraitures back in the day. And this is like a recreation of those kind of photos, like a reminiscence of them.
We spoke to a few people earlier and they did mention that this is a favorite one. Why do people relate to it? Why do people love it? As an artist who put in that work, you are the one who did the painting. Why do you think people love it so much?
Okay, first off, maybe the colors kind of attract people. Also, I think why a lot of people like this is because you can see a young, vibrant lady. You can't tell if she's from the old era or if she's from the young era, but you can see this lady is wearing a really nice, lush fabric, which is a traditional fabric from my culture. You can see her hair is Bantu knots, but you can see there's a bit of modernism to her. She's not really from the old culture, but she's trying to identify with her roots.
Which one is your favorite piece? Which one drew your attention? The one you liked the most? And what does it say to you? Because that one is subjective. It's not something what you see. It's not something that everyone sees. What drew you to it? Which one is your favorite?
Oh, Asanda, I just have to say the piece right across from us.
You're not the first person to say that.
No, it's just everything, the colors about it, it just draws you in. And I mean, you just look at the pose that the woman is doing. It just looks really powerful. It looks really strong. And just the colors as well, it draws you into it. It just, as you walk in, that's the one piece that really sticks out. So I think that's my favorite for the night.
Chumbana Chumbe Likiza, an 18-year-old skater from Nairobi's Korogocho slum, has been winning contests and fame across Kenya. Her prize money helps pay her family's bills and fund her goal of becoming an international professional skater.
Nilianza skate when I was 3 years. Hapo ndo nilianza kuskate, nikaenda Disai. I'm 18, bado naendelea kuskate.
She trains almost every day by skating long and wide curves down the dirty streets in her area.
Hizo zenye mimi ushinda most utapata. Zingine zinasaidia familia, ka chakula, ka ikuwa kwa nyumba tunabai zinakaa kwa nyumba. Mingi sana hata sijisaidiangi. Nzasema nasaidia mama. Na skate kinipeleka mbali sana kama majuu. Mimi nataka life yangu ikuwe majuu. Nizasema hivyo. Najua skate, I believe skate anipeleka majuu tena.
Chumbe is one of the best speed skaters in the country, a fringe sport in Kenya, which most sports fans only know for its legendary meet to long-distance runners. Skating is one of the world's fastest growing sports, but its popularity in Kenya is still catching up to global trends.
Skating industry in Kenya has been growing, has been thriving, as opposed to the common notion that it is a sport for the well-off. We were here to prove to you that it is a sport for all ages, for all economic backgrounds, for all tribes, for all religions. And in Kenya, we have had it for the number of years now. Mostly we do it in schools, in learning institutions, but we also have communities where they have roller skating, inline skating as their main sport.
There are no designated skate parks in Kenya, and women are also underrepresented. But according to Mwangi, there are clear signs that the tide is changing.
The girls have been doing tremendously well, but it has been a challenge because of the society norms that this thing is too rough, it is too dangerous.
Born in Botswana, grew up in Zimbabwe, and now resides in South Africa. She has traveled extensively across the continent and always brings something home. We visit her studio in Norwood. Here is Masicho.
Bulanangabe is a clothing label. I actually like to think about it as more of a lifestyle and a story that I tell through fashion and through fabrics that I collect throughout the continent. The label itself, Bulanangabe, means speak Nangabe. And it's Sakhalagadi, and Nangabe is a name that I was given by my maternal grandfather, and it means caregiver. And it's got such a profound meaning because Sakhalagadi is one of the minority languages that are spoken in Botswana. And the Bakhalagadi are in the Kalahari Desert in the southwestern part of Botswana. And in the social strata of how Botswana society is organized, they're right at the bottom of the social strata. But when you think about it, the landscape houses our heritage, our history, and the depth of our indigenous knowledge systems. So by Bulanangabe, I'm just basically celebrating my cultural heritage and background.
Your love for African prints, when did you realize that you like the bright African print?
Quite early in my life, actually, when I was still in my teens, my early years of university. When I was 19 already, I was known to be the girl at university who would be sporting the bright headscarf. But it also had to do with people who had been a great influence in my life. And these were my sociology lecturers who often had like a beautiful, colorful scarf just thrown over their shoulders. And these were people who were Pan-African. They were traveling the continent and they were always bringing a piece of the continent back. And I recall I would look and say, I want to do that.
Traveling also opened her eyes to how people took pride in their textiles and the stories the fabrics tell.
Is there like one specific country or maybe a few that you go to, or do you go all over the continent looking for stuff?
Yeah. So I go all over the continent. Often I am, it would either be that I'm on holiday or I am doing my everyday social justice work. But when I visit a country and in the African continent I don't want to dwell too much or only on what the problems there are. I also want to spend time with local people, understanding their culture, their stories, what makes them, connecting with people at that personal level, at the human level. And there's no better place to do that than the markets.
Of course.
But when I go into the market, I'm not just going in to fill the fabric, pick it up and pay for it. I'm going in there and I'm sitting down and I'm talking to the craftsman or the woman who's selling me this fabric. I want to know the history. I want to know their personal story.
She believes African prints should not be put aside for special occasions like weddings, but should be incorporated incorporated in everyday wear.
So here is fabrics that I haven't cut out yet, and we've got the kentes from Ghana. And these are old pieces as well that I can either use to make a coach or a throw, a bed throw. And they're not new pieces. And then I've got the mud cloth from Burkina Faso that I have here. And this mud cloth, I've made some clothes with it, cut up some pieces to make very gorgeous kaftans with the piece. And this is part of the, my upcycling range of clothing. And the mud cloth is also associated with fertility. It's a cloth that they would give a young mother to wrap herself around with after childbirth or something like that. And it's called the mud cloth because the original way of dyeing this fabric would have been to use mud. Also from Burkina Faso. And they can be used as women would normally use them as wraps. They also use them as throw-over scarves. And what I've done with them is, with the upcycled line, is we've got this linen and indigo top that is quite beautiful, modern, versatile in the sense that you can wear it this way, being the front, or you can flip it around and the shorter part becomes your front and the longer part becomes a trail in your top.
The indigo can also be used for different things like tablecloths, cushion covers, whatever you like.
These are accessories that are made out of, ostrich eggshells. Yeah, wow. And this is a craft that is so common with the Basara in Botswana and the Bakhalagadi.
These gorgeous bronze pieces are done by a lady in Kenya. Love them. These intricately woven baskets are from northern Ghana and are so versatile you can use them as a shopping bag, magazine holder, or just a statement piece. Sadly, we have reached the end of today's show, so tell us, how are you celebrating Africa Month on our Twitter page? It's @Trendz on SABC. See you next week.